And then as a small community, we wondered what we could do next. And the members there decided they wanted to do something with the garden. This is the space that's adjoining the chapel. As you come out of the car park, this is the space that you'll pass, the garden that's next to the chapel. As you can see, it's really not very exciting. We've got a big ash tree there, but not a lot else. And so we decided we wanted to do something with this garden, to develop a sensory garden that was accessible for all people. We found out we were quite limited actually, because the ash tree there has got roots that are very close to the surface, and so we can't dig down. And also we needed to check that the national park were happy with what we wanted to do. But word got out that we were thinking of doing something with the garden, and there's a local environmental group that contacted us because they were thinking of creating an orchard in the area. We said, well, we didn't want to create an orchard, but we were looking at doing the garden. And they said they were happy to be involved and work with us, which is great, a new connection within that community. And then we found a local garden designer who came and talked to us and amazingly offered all his time for free to design the garden, and also to oversee the project management of it as well, which was just a real gift to us. And so this is just the design of the garden. Don't read all the text around it. This is just a picture of what went into the planning permission for the parks. But we've got a tiny gap on the side of the chapel as you get into the garden, but just enough to make it an accessible space, so we can put a slope in there so that wheelchairs and pushchairs and things can get up in that space. And we just want a simple garden. It's a trefoil design that reflects the window that's at the front of the chapel. There'll be some formal planting and some wild planting as well. And we wanted some stones that were sort of in keeping the design with the local area. And one of the members got in contact with a local farmer that lives nearby, who had lots of big pieces of stone on his land. And he said, come down and choose the stone that you want, which we did. And then he brought that stone up in his digger into the garden for us, which was just amazing, because it was no mean feat getting that over a wall into the garden. And while we were down there, he showed us a bench that he'd made for somebody who then didn't want it. And we said, well, that would be fabulous in our garden if we could buy that off you. And he said, no, you can have that for free, which was just amazing. And I should have said earlier on, we had no budget for this garden at all. And so three of us, myself, one of the members, and somebody from this local environmental group, decided to do some fundraising. We did a virtual walk. Well, the walking was for real, but we did a virtual pilgrimage to the Camino de Santiago and raised over £1,000 to help support the development of this garden. And then on top of that, the environmental group have donated us a tree and some money towards the garden. The local parish council have donated some money. And then the national park found out about this garden and said if we were going to plant some plants that would be friendly, they'd give us some money as well towards these plants that would help encourage bees into the area. So here's just a couple of pictures. You can just see the layout on the left-hand side, the template for the trefoil design. And then on the right-hand side, the central stone there in place and the stone bench, and just the outline of the beds. So the next stage is to get the environmental group to come down and dig out those beds, and then we'll think about the planting. So we sent an email out to our local circuit and also in the parish magazine with a list of plants, asking if people had any in their garden that they'd be willing to, split and donate. We've had a great response from that as well. So it's just wonderful, actually, that so many of the community are getting involved in this project, and also donating their time and their resources for free. So it just feels like a great way that we've made connections in the local community, and hopefully we'll be able to use this space going forward for all sorts of activities outside worship and things like that. So still to explore how we might be able to do that going forward in the future.